Good afternoon to all of our attendees. We're glad to have you join us. We're excited for what we're going to be covering today in our presentation here on the Easy Switch program, which is SmarterCommerce's competitor replacement program. Just wanted to present a quick introduction for who's on the call with me, and then we'll jump into an agenda for what our time together is going to look like. Speaking is Jerry Van Dalen. I'm the sales manager here at SmarterCommerce. We're also joined by Fermin Rodriguez, who's our managing director. Again, both of us happy to share some of the details around the Easy Switch program. In our time together, we're going to speak through the following points. I'll provide an overview in terms of who we are as an organization, answering the big picture question of what is Smarter Commerce. I'll dive into a very brief competitor analysis based on our experience in the marketplace for about 20 years. And then I'm going to review two case studies for organizations that have swapped a competitor solution for SmarterCommerce. And then we'll cover the big picture items around the Easy Switch program as well. We'll have time for Q&A after today's session. We hope that the audience finds this material engaging. If you do have any questions, go ahead and chat it in to us. Fermin and myself will be answering questions throughout the presentation. So to begin talking about SmarterCommerce, SmarterCommerce is an organization that's been around for 30 years, actually. This year is our 30-year anniversary. All 30 of those years, we've been working in the JD Edwards space. Through our SmarterCommerce family of products and our JD Edwards consulting practice, we've completed well over 500 projects globally. As an organization, we're based in South Florida here in the United States, but we have a network of professionals working across the US remotely, as well as an office of developers in San Jose. And although our history really is in the JD Edwards consulting space, in the last 20 years, we've sort of pivoted and began developing solutions that are focused on helping JD Edwards organizations launch successful projects, primarily through those solutions uniting their commerce systems into their ERP, namely JD Edwards, into one simple and automated system. What we came to realize after 20 years of helping businesses is that one of the major challenges that tech and business leaders have when trying to launch and successful digital commerce initiatives or payment initiatives revolves around a lack of connection, primarily between the ERP and the other systems. And this lack of connection typically produces a feeling of being overwhelmed. You've got this big e-commerce project, you have this big payments or retail project, but you don't feel like you have the solutions or the resources to really succeed. And then when you start understanding, how complex it is to integrate and connect those systems, it can be surprising to understand the high cost of that. And so as an organization, we're driven by the ethos of believing that businesses deserve a fully connected e-commerce, payments, retail platform that enables JD Edwards organizations to conquer the complexity of integration and instead be able to focus on growth. And like I said, we've been doing this now for over 20 years. We have over 150 JD Edwards customers at this point. And all these customers have a couple of key things in common. Number one, like I said, they're all JD Edwards customers. Number two, they were all formerly in a position where they were overwhelmed by a new project, whether that was an e-commerce project, a retail project, or a payments project. And that lack of native JD Edwards connectivity really led to a feeling of frustration. After partnering with SmarterCommerce, they were able to successfully launch a digital commerce initiative and become an industry leader in their respective industry. A couple of more things to point out from this slide is, number one, this is not a complete list of customers, obviously. And then number two, all of the highlighted customer logos on this slide is a partial list of the organizations or the JD Edwards organizations that have transitioned from a competitor solution over to SmarterCommerce. So if we want to answer the big picture question, what is SmarterCommerce? We sort of like to say and define SmarterCommerce as a family of solutions that help companies unite commerce, payments, and retail systems into one automated platform that connects with JD Edwards. And obviously that connection with JD Edwards is critical for the way that SmarterCommerce goes to market. SmarterCommerce is an Oracle validated integration solution, which means that we've gone through a fairly rigorous validation process to make sure that our integration with JD Edwards Oracle, JD Edwards Enterprise One, is valid, is trusted. As a result, we've been assigned the system code Q67 to validate that integration. We have 5 major product pillars. SmarterCommerce Payment Processing is a JD Edwards native application that allows customer service representatives to take a credit card payment or credit card authorization at the sales order level natively within JD Edwards Enterprise One in a PCI compliant fashion. Additionally, credit cards can be used as a method of payment for open invoices, again, in a JD Edwards native and PCI compliant fashion. SmarterCommerce e-commerce is a fully functioning B2B and B2C platform that has comprehensive capabilities in both of those approaches, fully integrated with JD Edwards Enterprise One, and obviously includes all of the standard e-commerce capabilities, again, both from a B2B and B2C standpoint, a product catalog, shopping cart capabilities, content management capabilities, and the list goes on. SmarterCommerce Retail is a retail solution, again, connected with JD Edwards Enterprise One for those customers that have a physical selling capabilities, or rather requirements. SmarterCommerce is a retail solution, again, that enables that in-person commerce. SmarterCommerce's AvaTax connector is the certified connector between JD Edwards Enterprise One and the Avalara AvaTax sales tax compliance platform. Obviously, we integrate with JD Edwards tax tables and Vertex, but the AvaTax connector is a third alternative for the JD Edwards customer base. And then finally, we also have a call center management solution, which is really a reorganized order entry process to better suit a call center scenario. Again, to note here is that all of these solutions not only talk to each other, but they connect to JD Edwards on a real-time basis. If we're moving on here, just to kind of talk through an analysis of some of the competitors in the landscape, you'll see here a summary of that information. We're analyzing one option here, or a solution that's owned by a public organization, a very large payment firm. This company had been acquired by them a couple of years ago, and so that's what we have termed the public option. On the left-hand side, you see the different considerations that organizations review when they're making a solution decision. And then on the right-hand side, you have SmarterCommerce, obviously the solution topic today. In terms of company ownership, one major point of contrast is that this alternative solution is publicly owned. The solution itself is actually a very small portion of a much larger publicly owned organization, which often means that it may not receive as much attention or funding from a marketing standpoint and development standpoint because it's just not the focus of that organization. SmarterCommerce, on the other hand, is privately owned. We've been privately owned for all 30 years of our history. And it's going to continue to be the case. And obviously, JD Edwards integrated payments, e-commerce, retail has really been our focus now for over 20 years and will continue to be the case. From an integration standpoint, this public option has multi-ERP capabilities. And so it's able to integrate and connect with not just JD Edwards, but also SAP and Microsoft Dynamics and Epicor and multiple other ERPs. Which often means that the quality of the integration to JD Edwards Enterprise One is more generic and in some sense diluted as a result. SmarterCommerce, on the other hand, has been laser focused on integrating with JD Edwards Enterprise One, and that's not going to go away anytime soon. It really is the ERP of focus for SmarterCommerce. Some of the feedback that we've heard from customers that have previously used this public option is that from a user experience standpoint, it's a relatively inflexible user experience. It's very difficult to adjust, and in a general sense, provides a very dated look and feel for the user. SmarterCommerce, on the other hand, we've adopted a content management system, a world-class CMS, to manage the user experience for SmarterCommerce e-commerce, which means that customers are free to create modern, streamlined, sharp, and yet flexible user experiences for their digital commerce operations. From an implementation standpoint, the feedback that we hear from a lot of customers of the public option is that they have a history of projects that just kind of go beyond initial budgets in a way that's unreasonable. From a timing standpoint, they just seem to take a lot longer than what was originally projected. Smarter Commerce, on the other hand, because we have that very tight, predictable integration with JD Edwards Enterprise One in an exclusive fashion, we can usually offer very predictable and in some cases even fixed fee implementation projects. And this really sets us apart from any of the other competitions in the marketplace. And then last but not least, support. When a customer finally does go live, joins the customer family, is using the solution, what does it look like for that customer to be supported? The feedback that we get from the public option is that most of the support that's offered is offshore, and all kinds of communication issues may arise as a result, and that really decreases the quality of the support. Smarter Commerce, on the other hand, most of our support leads are US-based resources, and we prioritize communication as one of the key elements of providing high-quality support. Now, obviously, this is our analysis. You don't have to take our word for it. I want to share some additional information on two Smarter Commerce replacement case studies. These are organizations that used competitor solutions at one point, and in the last few years have transitioned over to Smarter Commerce and are successfully using Smarter Commerce as a replacement. The first is going to be an organization called Columbia Pipe and Supply, based in Illinois. It's rather self-explanatory what they do, but they supply pipes and fittings and joints and things of that nature to the surrounding region. Years ago, they invested in a solution called SnapPay or SnapPay Payments. And they used that solution for a number of years. And when we engaged with them a couple of years ago, the overwhelming feedback was that this solution was very cumbersome to upgrade. It was a very lengthy, very expensive process to move from one release to another. They had the requirement of needing to support credit card payments with this application on their third-party e-commerce platform. SnapPay could not support that requirement. Again, a limitation of functionality. And then whenever there was a project, it was a relatively unpredictable affair. The costs would overrun, the implementation was unpredictable, and generally resulted in a negative experience. And then additionally, if Columbia Pipe and Supply wanted to evaluate alternatives from a payment processing standpoint, they were basically locked to use one payment processor, which really didn't give them the freedom to go out into the marketplace and find a competitive bid for their credit card processing services. And all of this really just generated a general frustration, a feeling of dissatisfaction with the solution, so that they engaged with Smarter Commerce, explained some of these difficulties. We structured a program and a proposal that responded to some of these requirements, and they were able to implement Smarter Commerce successfully. A few months later, they went ahead and launched their new digital commerce site using Smarter Commerce's payment application on this e-commerce website, and now they're happy users of Smarter Commerce payments, and that continues to be the case up until this day. The second case study is an organization called Mizuno USA. They're a Japanese-owned sportswear brand based in Japan. We're obviously dealing with their US subsidiary. For many years, they invested in a solution called ERP to Web, which is a B2B e-commerce portal, and in SnapPay, the same solution as Columbia Pipe and Supply. And when we engaged with them, there was a general struggle. They had communicated to us that for many years, they were just kind of surprised with the high cost of the software ownership, the high cost of the software upkeep. Every time they had to do an enhancement to the software, it just added more and more money to the annual support, annual support dues. And that just kind of kept ramping up to the point where it was rather unreasonable to continue supporting the solution, because the solution itself on an annual basis was the cost of switching to a brand new solution in the first place. They also communicated concerns around support being suboptimal, some of the same material or comments that we've mentioned earlier. And then another consideration was that because this family of solutions, ERP to Way, SnapPay, had been acquired by a much larger global processing and payments organization, it just felt like the amount of development and investment dollars into the solution really was not materializing. And so it didn't feel like the solution had any real future for JD Edwards customers. After engaging with Smarter Commerce, we analyzed the situation, took a look at their enhancements, understood their needs and the capabilities that they hoped to expect from a future solution, and we successfully replaced Smarter Commerce, or rather, we successfully replaced ERP to Web and SnapPay with Smarter Commerce. And today, they're successfully running Smarter Commerce e-commerce, our payment solution, and our retail solution. Matter of fact, you can actually visit this website here. It's direct b2b.mizunousa.com. This is Smarter Commerce that you're looking at right now. Now, obviously, most of the content and e-commerce functionality is behind a login, but there's plenty of other Smarter Commerce websites that you could visit and explore. Here's another one, IDEX H&S. You can explore products and sort of different product families and browse and get a sense of the look and feel for how Smarter Commerce interacts with industry-specific functionality and industry-specific branding. As you can see, Mizuno USA's website or B2B portal is very different from this website, IDEX Health and Sciences website, and that's obviously a testament to the extensibility of the user experience. Here's a third website that you can explore. It's chartparts.com. It's really the parts replacement shopping platform for Chart Industries, which is a global cryogenics and gas management organization. Customers in this case can browse a series of products separated by the product family or the what they call the exploded view for that particular product, so that customers can find the diagram of the machine or system that they're shopping for, and then identify the part using these diagrams, drill down to the part, and easily add that item to cart. So again, it's really a testament to the flexibility of Smarter Commerce, the different ways that the solution is in use today, and just the different ways that ERP to Web or SnapPay customers have been able to replace those solutions for Smarter Commerce and are today thriving instead of struggling with some of the items that we mentioned previously. Now, the Smarter Commerce management has come together. You know, our goal is to be able to help CDI customers, to help ERP to Web, SnapPay customers transition from those solutions which generate frustration, obviously result in a suboptimal user experience for their own customers. We want to help them transition, switch over to Smarter Commerce. And as a result, we have developed what we call the Easy Switch program. Now, the Easy Switch program really is meant to be tailored to every customer that wants to engage with us. But really, it has three main pillars, if you will, call them characteristics or elements of the program. The first is what we call the Easy Switch software usage discount. This is a strategic customer discount that helps get the conversation started. We understand that for a lot of organizations, switching platforms can be a rather expensive affair. You know, it can be a pricey project. And so we want to make sure that we can at least get our foot in the door, start the conversation with your leadership by offering a strategic customer discount. Now, obviously, in terms of how that discount is presented or how it's structured, really is subject to the discovery. We'd love to understand your particular needs. What are the specific pain points that your organization might be feeling if you are using one of these alternative platforms? And then we can start a discussion around what that discount would look like. Additionally, management has gotten very creative in terms of structuring a pricing structure, a pricing plan that would help focus on generating a quick return on investment and replacing the existing solution in a way that makes sense from an operating cost standpoint. This is the second pillar. We call it the tailored pricing structure. Again, it's critical for us to understand what solutions you're using, the cost structure for those solutions, and what would it take for us to be able to replace that. Again, this is another characteristic or element of the Easy Switch program. And then last but not least, we understand that sometimes, making a business case for replacing an entire tech stack can sometimes be challenging. And so our team, after doing this for 20 years, can assist in building the return on investment business case for this switch. This means that we'll talk with your team, we'll seek to understand the true cost of what these alternative solutions are costing your organization, not just from a fees standpoint, but also from a foregone sales, negative customer experience standpoint, so on and so forth. And after interacting with your organization, we'll be able to build this business case and present that to your business, your managers and so on, so as to build a stronger case for transitioning to SmarterCommerce. Now, at this point, I just have one more comment, and that's really revolving around next steps. We'll address Q&A in just a few minutes, but I want to answer the question, if you are an organization and you're using ERP to web, if you're using SnapPay, if you're using any of the other SmarterCommerce competitors, you could qualify for the SmarterCommerce Easy Switch program. We'd love to get that conversation started with you. Initially, what that looks like is just reaching out to our team. You can go to www.smartercommerce.net, go to our Contact Us page, fill out that form, get the conversation starting. We'll jump on a call, understand your situation, and see how we can leverage the Easy Switch program to make this an easy transition for your team. Our goal is for your team to be satisfied, for your team to be happy in the technology choices that you have. And if that's not the case today, with the solutions that you're currently investing in, then we want to make sure that that's the case with SmarterCommerce. If there are any additional questions, you can go ahead and share those now. I'll stick around for a few minutes. Fermin will stick around for a few minutes and kind of answer those on a one-on-one basis. And so you'll submit the question and we'll kind of we'll respond to you personally and directly. So we'll do that now for a few minutes, but let me also wrap up by saying thank you for joining us for the Easy Switch program overview webinar. Excited about getting conversations started and engaging with your team.